Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going to get back into the book of Deuteronomy. We're almost to the end of this book of the Bible, which is amazing to me. Every time we get close to the end of a book within the Bible since I've started this reading, I almost become a little sad because it's like right when I start to really enjoy the subject matter of that particular book, it's like, oops, we're almost at the end. But maybe these books are written to be that way. Who knows? So, anyway, today we're going to go into chapters 31 and 32. Tomorrow we'll cover 33 and 34. And then from there, we'll find ourselves going into the book of Joshua, which is pretty exciting. So, here we go. And as usual, I will provide my commentary as I feel the need to do so. Joshua to succeed Moses. Then Moses went and spoke these words to all Israel. He said to them, I am 120 years old today. I can no longer come and go. Also, the Lord has said to me, you may not cross over the Jordan. The Lord your God will cross over before you. He will destroy these nations before you. You will possess them, and Joshua will cross over before you, just as the Lord has said. The Lord will do to them as he did to Sihon and to Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their land which he destroyed. The Lord will give them up before you, so that you may do to them according to all the commandments which I have commanded of you. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, it is he who goes with you. He will not fail you, nor forsake you. Moses called to Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and of good courage, for you must go with this people to the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you will enable them to inherit it. The Lord, he goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail or forsake you. Do not fear, nor be dismayed. Moses wrote this law and delivered it to the priest, the son of Levi, who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, at the time of the year of the cancellation of debts, at the feast of the tabernacles, when all Israel has come to appear before the Lord your God in the place which he will choose, you must read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men, women, children, and your foreigner who is within your towns, so that they may hear and learn and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law. Their children who have not known it may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live in the land which you cross the Jordan to possess. All right, so that's the end of that particular section. But it's interesting how God does want the people to assemble on a routine basis. And truthfully, I think that's one of the key things to keeping a civilization going, bringing people together to embark on a common goal and have common beliefs. Because if you don't have things in common with your neighbor, whether you like them or not, the civilization or society, rather, that both of you belong to or all of you belong to, is going to have a difficult time continuing. And I think that is a bit of what the issue is within our society, within the United States today. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue. This section is titled Prediction of Israel's Rebellion. The Lord said to Moses, Behold, your days, I'm sorry, behold, your days draw near when you must die. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tent of meeting, so that I may commission him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tent of meeting. The Lord appeared in the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the pillar of cloud stood over the door of the tent. The Lord said to Moses, "Behold, you are about to lie down with your fathers. Then this people will rise up and begin to prostitute themselves after the gods of the foreigners of the land, where they are going to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger will burn against them on that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they will be devoured, and many disasters and troubles will befall them, so that they will say in that day, have not these disasters come upon us because our God is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evil things which they have done, in that they have turned to other gods." So, in other words, and this is an interesting passage when I think about it. Moses and Joshua go into their temple, which is the tent of meeting, and God appears. That to me, the fact that God, or at least a representation of God, is physically appearing before humans in that time, that right there is something I would love to see in some way, shape, or form. That is the reason that a lot of people would truly like for time travel to be a reality, because a lot of people would like to see exactly what Moses and Joshua saw. What did they see? Who was talking to them? It even sound like? That's what I want to know. So, just a thought for today. Anyway, let's continue. Now, therefore, write yourselves this song and teach it to the Israelites. Put it in their mouths, so that this song may be a witness for me against the Israelites. Now, and this is interesting too. Now it's time for a bit of a songwriting session with God. That's a special thing. This is the kind of thing that I wish when I was going to Sunday school as a kid, the Sunday school teacher would have gone over with us. This is the kind of thing that makes the Bible exciting for me. Here you are with Moses and Joshua in a tent of meeting. They're not just praying and meditating. God is just like, bam, hello, here I am. I'm God. I'm here to hang out with y'all today. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to write a top 40 hit. That's God. That's God in my mind. Maybe that's why, even though I don't deal well with death, just because I don't like when I don't get to talk to people anymore who I've liked or loved even. Though I don't deal well with the concept of death, I've never been afraid of death at all, because whatever's on the other side has to be absolutely amazing. I've always thought that. It's not like I'm running around looking for death, not at all. Actually, there's someone who recently passed away that's been on my mind, because his passing made me a little bit upset, still does. But when he was alive, I was like, man, he seems like a death seeker. And I was right, which freaks me out a little bit. I don't like being right about things like that, but it is what it is. I wonder what else I'm right about. Probably a lot. But anyway, this is cool. So they're getting ready to write a song. And the song is actually in the Bible, between chapters 31 and 32 in the book of Deuteronomy. So we're about to hit that. So I'm excited. But then again, I get excited about a lot of things that other people don't get excited about. But that's what makes me me, I guess. All right. So anyway, God is getting ready to write a song with Moses and Joshua. Now, therefore, write yourself this song and teach it to the Israelites. Put it in their mouths, so that the song may be a witness for me against the Israelites. For when I have brought them into the land which I swore to their fathers, flowing with milk and honey, and they have eaten and filled themselves and become fat. Then they will turn to other gods and serve them and provoke me and break my covenant. And see, I don't understand why people in this time couldn't have been a little bit nicer to God. I mean, there wasn't that much going on. It's not like they had anything like the internet or anything at that point in time. It's not like they had YouTube. But even though they didn't have much of anything else going on, and even though God was literally appearing before them, showing all sorts of miracles, amazing things. I mean, maybe it just wasn't impressing these people that much, and I don't know why that would be. They were still seeking out competitors to God. I wonder if the competitors just had like a better fireworks show or what. It makes me wonder. What were the people seeing at that point in time? Where is my time travel machine so that I can find out? I probably won't get to ever find out. Let's keep going. Then, when many disasters and troubles have fallen on them, this song will testify against them as a witness, for it must not be forgotten from the mouths of their descendants. For I know their intention, which they are developing, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I promised. Therefore, Moses wrote this song the same day and taught it to the Israelites. He gave Joshua, the son of Nun, an exhortation and said, "Be strong and of good courage, for you will bring the Israelites into the land which I have swore to them, and I will be with you." When Moses had finished writing the words of this law in a book until they were completed, then Moses commanded the Levites who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, "Take this book of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, so that it may be there for a witness against you. For I know your rebellion and your stiff neck. Behold, even now, while I am yet alive with you today, you have been rebellious against the Lord. How much more after my death? Gather to me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, so that I may speak these words in their hearing, and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death, you will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And disaster will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord and provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. All right, so Moses is telling these people, look, I'm about to drop dead. And I know that as soon as I do, you guys are going to run around thinking that you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And I'm sure that the priests and whatnot at that time were like, "Oh no, Moses, are you senile? That can't be right." Not like they had that term back then, senile, but I'm sure they had something along the lines. And Moses was like, "Look, don't worry. We are putting together a top 40 hit, an awesome song to try to indoctrinate the minds of the youth so that things don't get too bad. But it's pretty obvious that after I die, you're gonna do all kinds of weird stuff with these other competitors to God. So let's just go ahead and go over some things." That's what it was. All right, the Song of Moses. So here's the song. Here's the song. Moses spoke the words of this song until they were finished in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel. All right, I'm excited about this song. So now we're going into the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32. This is where the song is. See, if I was a Sunday school teacher or something, this would be the kind of thing that I would create a skit of for the children. Something along the lines of everything outlined in Deuteronomy 31 and 32, to where you have Joshua and Moses coming together in the tent of meeting. Moses is like, "Oh, I'm about to die, but we got to meet with God to figure out how we're going to keep these people together because they're all about to rebel." And then, boom, God appears. And it's kind of like, I don't know, just if I were to make this like an SNL skit, the representation of God would be represented by Michael Jackson. That's how it would be. Hey, Hiker 77, I hope you're having a good day. I'm just having fun in the book of Deuteronomy again. But it would be like Michael Jackson appearing, and he'd be like, all right, everything's going to be okay. We're going to write a top 40 hit, and that is what's going to keep the children of Israel going despite them provoking me and trying to do wrong. We're going to make them do right. That's what it would be. So let's see what this song is. Here we are, Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak. Hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My teaching will drop like the rain. My sayings will distill as the dew, as the droplets on the grass, and as the showers on the herb. For I will for I will proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are just. He is a God of faithfulness and without injustice. Righteous and upright is he. They have acted corruptly to him. They are not his children, but blemished. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Is this how you repay the Lord, you foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who has brought you or bought you? Has he not made you and established you? Oh, this is very descriptive, and this is basically a poem that was put together. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of previous generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of man, he set the boundaries of the peoples, according to the number of the Israelites. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the allotment of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the howling waste of a wilderness. He led him about, he instructed him, he protected him like the pupil of his eye, like an eagle stirs up her nest, that flutters over her young. He spread out his wings and took him. He lifted him on his pinions. The Lord alone guided him, and there was no foreign God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, and he ate of the produce of the fields. He made him suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter from the herd, and milk from the flock, along with the fat of lambs and rams of the breed from Bashan, and goats, with the best of the kernels of wheat. You drank the pure blood of the grape. But Jeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat and grew thick. You are covered with fat. Then he forsook God who made him, and devalued the rock of his salvation. They made him jealous with strange gods. With abominations they provoked him to anger. They sacrificed to demons, not to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that recently came along, whom your fathers did not fear. You have forgotten the rock who birthed you. You are unmindful and have forgotten the God who gave you birth. That's an interesting passage, that last part that I read, because God really did not like these others who were basically competitors to him at all. Not at all. Some people say competition is good for you. Not in God existence. No. When the Lord saw it, he despised them because of the provocation of his sons and daughters. He said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end will be. For they are a very perverse generation, children in whom there is no loyalty. They have made me jealous, with which is not God. They have provoked me to anger, and with their empty things. And I will make them jealous of who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire has been inflamed by my anger, and it will burn to the lowest part of Sheol, and shall consume the earth and its produce, and ignite the foundations of the mountains. I will heap misfortunes on them. I will use my arrows on them. They will be starved by famine and consumed by plague and bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of crawling creatures in the dust. The sword outside and terror within will destroy both the young man and the virgin, the infant along with the man of gray hair. I said, I want to cut them into pieces. I will cause the memory of them to disappear from among men. However, I feared the wrath of the enemy, that their adversaries would misunderstand and say, our hand is victorious, and the Lord has not done all this. For they are a nation devoid of counsel. There is no understanding them. Would that they were wise, so that they understood this, so that they would comprehend their future. How should one chase 1,000, and two put 10,000 to fight, or to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and the Lord had given them up? For their rock is not as our rock. Even our enemies themselves conceive this. For their vine is from the vine of Sodom, and from the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of poison. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the deadly venom of cobras. Is not this laid up in store with me and sealed among my treasures? Vengeance is mine, and recompense. Their foot will slip in due time. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things to come hasten upon them. For the Lord will judge his people and relent in regard to his servants. When he sees that their power is gone, and there is no one left, whether restrained or free, he will say, where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted, which ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you, and be your protection. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God besides me. There's a little bit of rhyme in here. A lot of times people think that songs, all the words have to rhyme and stuff now. I'm actually, as I'm moving forward with some music ideas of my own, I've been thinking, why does everything have to rhyme? I don't want everything to rhyme, but I like this little phrase in here. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God besides me. See, that's the kind of thing that the kids need to be hearing to get them more into Christianity. Um, I'm not going to act like I watch a ton of ministers nowadays because I don't, but it just seems like if people who are really looking to spread the word of Christianity a bit more, it seems like if they would go more into the books of the Bible that aren't so popular, maybe they would find some things to turn on today's youth a little bit more. Just a thought. Anyways, I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. There is no one who can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, as I live forever, if I sharpen my flashing sword and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will render vengeance on my enemies, and I will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the heads of the leaders of the enemies. Another thing I wanted to interject and add is that as I read through the Bible, there are so many passages to where I can almost match them up with popular songs, and I don't think a lot of people realize it. And that's what I'm saying. It's definitely the Christian music industry is a huge industry, right? But it just doesn't seem like there should be a differentiation between Christian music and what's considered mainstream music, at least not in my opinion, because um, so many songs and mainstream music are written by people who grew up in the church. They didn't go the Christian music route because Christian music um, moguls or that industry, they're more strict, believe it or not, than the mainstream music industry. And they put more chokeholds on the artist. I mean, this one passage, as it's talking about, for I lift my hand up to heaven, there's a song called, I can't think of the name, but it goes, I lift my hands to heaven and pray that we'll be back together someday. And that's a mainstream song. I always felt bad for that one girl, Jessica Simpson, because she was more of a Christian music artist for a long time. But the only way that she could gain popularity and basically support her family, honestly, she and her dad were touring that Christian music circuit for years, was to go the mainstream route. Maybe if the Christian music route had been a little bit more open to her, her life would have turned out a little bit differently. But that gets into the hypocrisy of a lot of Christians and whatnot. Within the Christian arenas, I'm definitely not accepted and never will be because of my choices in my past. I accept that. I'm okay with that. But when I look at how a lot of so called oh so righteous Christians live their lives, I know that they're hypocrites to the extreme. And quite often, even though they do publicly follow the one true God, the Christian God, behind the scenes, they're worshiping the competitors. All right, let's continue. Rejoice, O you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance on his adversaries, and will be merciful to his land and people. Moses came and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people, he with Joshua, the son of Nun. When Moses finished speaking all these words to Israel, he said to them, set your hearts on all the words which I testify among you today, which you shall command your children to be careful to observe. All the words of this law, for it is no idle word for you, because it is your life. And by this word you will prolong your days in the land which you cross over the Jordan to possess. Final section, Deuteronomy chapter 32. Moses to die on Mount Nebo. The Lord spoke to Moses that same day, saying, go up to this mountain of the Abarim, to Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites for possession. Die on the mount where you go up, and be gathered to your people, just as Aaron, your brother, died on Mount Or, and was gathered to his people, because you trespassed against me among the Israelites at the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, because you did not treat me as holy in the midst of the Israelites. Nevertheless, you will see the land before you, but you may not go there. to the land which I am giving to the Israelites. So that's the end of Deuteronomy 32. Tomorrow we will go into Deuteronomy 33 and 34. And what I found the most interesting about the end of that final chapter that I read was that in those days, God told people when they were going to die. At least he told Moses. He was like, all right, here's where you're going to die, when you're going to die, how you're going to die. I hope you enjoyed life. But of course, God would take care of Moses in the afterlife, as God takes care of everybody in the afterlife, at least from my perspective. That's what I believe. So, all of you out there, have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to do a little bit around here, and I'm probably going to spend this lovely Monday afternoon with many of you over on another project that I have, IP2 Wiki Info, that YouTube channel, because I have a interesting presentation that's a part of a series that's calling out a bit of child abuse and child neglect. So I need to go ahead and get that out there into the mass consciousness today. So everyone take care. Have a good one. Thanks for listening. Once more, I'm Alexandra Melody Mayers. Bye.